Mr Chair. I'm speaking on part 2 of this bill, which is the guts of the bill around the abolition of democracy in Canterbury. Later on this year, people all around New Zealand will be, as part of the celebration of democracy, be involved in local government elections. As someone who lives in Wellington, I'll get to vote for my mayor and my council. However, were I to move to Canterbury or Christchurch, I'll find that I won't be allowed to vote for my regional council. In fact, my right to vote for the regional council will be taken away by this bill which the National Party and the ACT Party are pushing through today. It is quite extraordinary that Part 2 takes away the idea of one person, one vote. Now, we've heard a lot about one person, one vote lately from the National Party and the ACT Party. So what this bill does in Part 2 is it says we're going to start with one person, one vote, and then we're going to go to one person, no vote. One person, no vote is the National Party preferred option to how the people in Canterbury should get to decide what happens to them. Now, what's going to be the outcome of this? One of the things, of course, in the rush to get this bill through hasn't had a lot of attention, of course, is the regulatory impact statement, the rushed regulatory impact statement which Ministry for the Environment tried to cobble together in between generating all those national policy statements and national environmental standards. Oh, that's right, we don't have any, that they've tried to get through and haven't managed to get through over the years. The regulatory impact statement says the Ministry have not been able to fully quantify the risks and costs of the proposal. So here we have this rushed bill being pushed through the House without any public input, no select committee process, whereby in Part 2 we abolish the right of the people of Canterbury to elect their regional council, and we find that the Ministry for the Environment in their regulatory impact statement say they have not had the time to be able to fully quantify the risks and costs of this proposal. There is a very close connection between the lack of democracy in this process in this House, no select committee process, and the fact that we are abolishing democracy for the people of Canterbury for the next 3 years in Part 2. What Part 2 is about is getting rid of democracy for the people of Canterbury. I think it's interesting that you've got to have, in order to be appointed as one of these commissioners, expertise in freshwater management. Wyatt Creech actually has some expertise in freshwater management. As it turns out, he knows how to pollute freshwater, which was, of course, why he got to do the review of Environment Canterbury in the first place, because the company that he's director of has numerous convictions for polluting water. And so I think obviously has some expertise in freshwater management, and so maybe that will be one of the people that the Minister appoints to be a commissioner to oversee what happens in Canterbury under Part 2 with the abolition of elected democracy in Canterbury. It's also perhaps, we could also ask the Crafers. I mean, the Crafers have a lot of expertise in freshwater management. They were very, very effective at polluting freshwater. They did an excellent job at polluting freshwater across the central North Island. I think it's time they spread to the South Island. Now, it seems to me they could be someone that the Minister would consider under Part 2, where under his power in the Minister for Local Government, to appoint as a commissioner to oversee the management of water in Canterbury, because over the next period they're obviously going to need someone with expertise, and the Crafers have shown tremendous expertise in polluting freshwater in New Zealand. It's also extraordinary that the terms of reference, we don't even know what's in the terms of reference and that they could be changed at any time. Now, we are voting on this bill to put it through, and yet one of the key aspects of the bill, the terms of reference, is not even being made public. So not only do we not have any public process through a select committee so the public can look into this bill in Part 2, and then in Part 2 we abolished public oversight of the regional council because we get rid of democratic oversight in Part 2, but then there is no public oversight of the terms of reference under which these commissioners will operate, because the terms of reference are still secret. So here we have a government pushing something through under urgency to implement a regional governance structure where we don't even know what the terms of reference for that will be. Will the terms of reference, for example, say to maximise irrigation potential in the Canterbury region, which is, of course, what the Prime Minister said in his opening to Parliament? Will that be one of the terms of reference? I'd ask the Minister to take a call. Will maximising irrigation be one of the terms of reference in this, Mr Chair?
Brendan Burns.